Coach Tony Kemper joined. His left, your right, Kristen Mayo. His right, your left, Kadeja Brooks. Coach, opening statement and take questions.
Bowling Green played pretty well, and I'm not sure we did a lot to counter the things that they do well. The post player who we knew was good is really good. She 11 for 13, so we didn't make it hard on her at all. And then one of the things we did do that I wanted to do was, I didn't want Four to shoot a lot of threes. She didn't have to, first of all. She only got 5 off. Now, she made 4 out of 5. So anytime she had an opportunity, she was ready and she knocked it in. And lost her a couple times and shouldn't have happened. But we were near good enough on the defensive end for sure to get that done. And then I thought offensively, our execution was fine. Turnovers were down, which they should be. We ought to be a good ball handling team. We didn't make enough shots. When you get a chance to make one, they go 10 for 19. We go 13 of 38, and I thought we had really good shots. So it's the difference in the game. I thought they were just a little crisper than we were, for sure.
Start the game a little slow on the 16-5 run and then come back and pull within just a couple at half. What did you see, I guess, in the first half that led to that mini run?
I think they made a lot of shots early, so that's part of it. So that's kind of what I tried to get them to just be steady with their head, and I thought that they would eventually, not make as many as they did in the first quarter, and they kind of got a little colder towards the end of it. But then, you look at the second half, what they did, 72% in the third quarter and 66% in the fourth quarter. That you can't beat anybody with that kind of defense. And it is what it is. We better learn, we better grow up, better learn consistency, and we better do it quick.
Coach, with your many non-conference games on the road and the start of conference play on the road as well, what are you going to emphasize between now and next week against a good Rutgers team and then going forward into the start of conference play?
Well, consistency. We better grow up in those, a lot of the little things. We didn't have very good cohesiveness, I guess is a different word. That our baseline out of bounds defense was just really, really bad. And that you can't do that. You can't do that kind of stuff. And ultimately that's on me. I'll organize this a little bit different. That was not a good idea, clearly. So I'll take the blame for that. But there was a lot of little things like that made it tough for us.
It seems like there were some more defensive lapses. I think you guys gave up 82 points, something you haven't done all year to an opponent. You mentioned you were going to take blame for the coordination, but what was it? Was it you guys not defending them well enough, or is there something you haven't seen before?
They have good offensive players. That's part of it. 55 is really good. She goes 11 for 13, doesn't really get out of sorts. You can throw it in there, and she makes whatever that is, 85% from the field. That's certainly opens some things up. So, I think you got to credit them. I think they're organized very well. They get it in there to her, and she's hard. She's tough to deal with. But it all rotates off of that. If you, I thought we needed to be able to make it hard on her one-on-one defense, and that did not happen. She really got after us in there. So.
A couple of times Kristen comes up with a bunch of threes, pulls you guys back within the game. I think at one point you were down by just 4 points. As a coach, knowing the type of game you played, does it provide any relief knowing that you were right there at one point with this team?
We should have been right there. It should have came down to the wire, and win or lose, I don't know. They're a pretty good basketball team, but I do not believe that it should have been a 13-point difference. I believe it should have came down to the end, but they were better in all phases. That's why it didn't. So we should have closed it to 4. We should have found a way to make their shots tougher. You can't. They missed 6 shots the whole second half. 6. You're not going to win.
Coach, will you make an emphasis on three-point shooting before the next game against Rutgers?
Well, I mean, I talked to him a little bit about that. But if you look at the numbers, we shot 34%. I think the frustrating part is good. We had pretty good shooters shooting wide open shots, and enough of them didn't go in. But 34% generally that's a pretty good number. Now it ain't 52.6, which is what they shot, but we need to get in the gym.
Kristen, for you, I guess, what did you feel was working? And it seemed like late in the game, your teammates were just relying on you to shoot, shoot the three, and at some point, more often than not, they went in for you, kind of led to a lot of success. And I guess, was it something you were seeing that they did defensively, or did you just feel like you had the hot hand?
I think that's like a good thing about our team is like you don't really know who's going to have the hot hand. Every game is going to be different. Like Coach said, we just need a lot of people getting in the gym, me included, like outside of practice, get more shots up so we can make a bigger percentage than what we did.
When he means get in the gym, what does he mean? Is it not enough time spent in the gym? Is it too little time spent?
Yeah, I think that we just gotta want it. We have to want to improve every aspect of our game that we can, as opposed to just being like he says, fat and happy. Like, don't be like, I don't know, okay with where you're at. You gotta always be looking to improve.
And where did you feel that this team kind of was coming into today on a 2-game winning streak?
I thought our practices probably weren't like as energetic as they should have been. But I felt like when the game started, I mean, I don't doubt my teammates. Like, I know the people next to me. I feel like they're going to fight for me every single time that we step on the floor. So I wasn't really like worried about how we were going to perform. But there are nights where you don't make shots or the other team doesn't make a lot of shots. So.
And just, I guess for you, in terms of your success today, were you kind of seeing the same things that Kristen saw out there on the floor?
I mean, yes and no. I just feel like if the shot was there, I was taking it. And yeah, that's basically it.
Defensively, I was kind of asked Coach about these lapses. Where did you feel things may have broken down during the game?
We had a lot of miscommunications during, in situations. I believe like us getting in practice not being as energetic and alert basically transpired to what you guys seen tonight. So I think if we come back the next week alert, energetic, ready to improve and learn and get in the gym outside of just practice time, we can give Rutgers a pretty good fight.
And Kristen, just going off what she said, I think there was a moment on the floor where you were trying to have Savannah maybe give you a screen, maybe a pick, and I guess there was some miscommunication on that. Was that just something she didn't hear, or is that kind of what she's referring to in terms of miscommunication?
I think that was the miscommunication thing because our out-of-bounds plays were kind of not where they were supposed to be today. So we had called a play, and she got thrown in a position that she hasn't had to run in practice or ever before in a game. So I was just letting her know what was going on. It wasn't really anything other than miscommunication.
That's something that I've got to help with a little bit. A year ago we had a team that was really been around a lot, and they could figure it out on the fly, kind of, especially towards the end of the year. And I think I've got to be a little simpler, and I've got to know, that when we have different lineups in there, that sometimes it's hard on them. But their communication could really improve a lot, and it would help me fix some of those problems. But some of that's on me too, because we were pretty darn versatile a year ago, and people can move spots, and we're just not there yet. And I know why. It's just time spent in that moment. Some of them just don't have it. So we do have to do that a little bit. We got to make sure we're getting people through things. I do know that needs to pick up across the board. Alertness needs to pick up.
Has that been a concern?
Was today. And I think, and I've said this basically every time I sit up here, win or lose, really. Like, we're just not consistent enough to beat a team like Bowling Green yet. And will we get there? that remains to be seen. But they, not they, we can't afford to relax on the little things. Like, we have to be nonstop. Like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing ahead of us? Not what just happened to me. What's the next thing to do? And I don't have them there yet on that stuff. I don't have them there yet.
So Coach, will that be a thing you address in practice this week, the miscommunication?
We'll try. I don't know that we're miscommunicating. I think we're not communicating enough. You know, this game takes a lot. It takes a lot of communication to just. That's a shooter. You know, you've got her. This is, you know, watch the cross screen right here. I think that's what's coming. Just all kinds of little tiny things like that. I mean, we shot 72 times. They shot 51. There's a whole lot going on in basketball. You know, and you don't have a huddle very often to address, you know, you didn't block the right person, or I don't know anything about football. I don't know what they talk about in the huddles. But you don't have a 40-second clock in a huddle. You know, you have to do all that on the fly. And when we're good, we do.
And on the free throws, 4 for 10 today. Is that going to be something
Problem.
else? Is that going to be something else you work on in practice this week?
I mean, the bottom line is we have majors all over the map, and we have a practice window that isn't tremendous on some days. And if they want to make more free throws, we try to put them in there. And yet, if you're going to shoot 50 free throws, it's probably not coming in practice. It's probably getting one of the coaches and taking them down there and saying, I'm going to make some free throws. I mean, that's the reality of it. And I know, I mean, we got finals week coming up. I think there's a little of that going on. There's some stress there, and I get it, but they have it too. I mean, they got the same thing going on. So free throws is an issue. You know, that's a huge difference in that game. In the first half, it was like, you know, what was it, 7-point game? We were like 1 for 7, and they're 6 for 7. So, I mean, anyway, we can get a lot better. We can get a lot better. Will we? We'll see. I'm ready. I'm ready for energy, alertness out of all 15. Every day we walk out there, they handle that, and we can practice. You know, when we're good, that's what we get.
Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.